Happy Halloween, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining me, Trevor Angone, my co-host Kevin Ko.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good, buddy.
Yep, doing good.
But you got to tell the people what they're listening to. It's the Angone and Ko Show.
The AKS podcast.
Finally back, son.
There we go.
Dude.
Finally back.
Nice to be back, man.
That's a really good, straightforward way to put it. Finally back. A lot has happened since we've been gone.
We had to come out of our little caves, you know. We went and we couldn't look at daylight for about a week, you know.
Our midterm caves.
Yeah, after that Dodger debacle. We'll get into that obviously.
There are three things we need to do as soon as we can. Is for me, I need to get some food, I need to get a tan,
yep,
and I need to talk about what the hell has been going on these past couple of weeks in LA.
GTL, son, GTL.
When it comes, gotta fit sports in there somewhere. Oh, the L can, I think we could fit Lakers in there. So,
speaking of Lakers, I hear somebody's little ESPN upstate.
Excuse me. All right, so Trev, tell the people what we're gonna talk about today.
Okay, we're gonna keep it sweet. We're gonna give the people what they want. We're gonna give them a potent dose. Okay, we're gonna do some Lakers. We're gonna talk about the first two games out of the gates, and then we're gonna go into a little bit of Dodgers, a little bit of looking back, unfortunately, and then a little bit of looking forward because, I think there's gonna be a lot of good stuff on the horizon, big dog.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. But dude, getting it started.
A lot of good things seem to be in the horizon for Los Angeles sports, not in the now.
Yeah.
But let's get started, right? With the Lakers.
Basketball's
finally back.
Finally back. And, we had game one a couple days ago. We had game two yesterday. Let's talk about game one to start, okay?
Okay.
Man, how much fun was that to watch in the season opener against the Clippers? No Kobe. Powell back, looking great, looking healthy. And, dude, what else can I say? At least in game one for Henry, Meeks, Farmar, even, Wesley Johnson, even though he didn't, his percentage wasn't off the chain, he had that huge shot late in the fourth. So, dude, how awesome was that to watch that yesterday or a couple days ago?
That was probably the most fun I had watching a Lakers game since 2010.
Dude, yeah, no, I totally agree. It was that same type of just fun to watch,
When's the last time we've been able to say, as Laker fans, wow, our guys look really athletic out there. Our guys look more athletic than the other team. When have we been able to say that?
Or how about they look so young? Like, how do we get so young overnight?
Those guys are quick. Those guys are young, like you just said. Speaking of young, Nick Young, man, how has he been the past couple of games? I mean, I love Swaggy P, but he's been shooting a horrible percentage.
You know what? I think he's just so excited to be in that purple and gold. Yeah. He's just got to settle down, kind of settle into his own, and then, we'll really see what happens,
Yeah, and he's just the fill-in for Kobe right now. And he was actually taking the Kobe thing to another level. Yesterday's game, the guy was asking for the ball, posting up on the elbow.
Oh, my gosh,
being
that's so
a mini
funny.
Kobe. But, of course, we didn't give it to him. But, yesterday's game was a blowout. But let's get started with game one, as you were talking about.
Game one, man. Hey,
was Xavier Henry.
Dude, you took the words right out of my mouth. I honestly didn't get a chance to watch a ton of preseason, and this kid just surprised the hell out of me. You've been checking him out during the preseason, though, right?
Yeah, I have been checking him out during the preseason. He loves to go left.
Yeah, he's a good-looking lefty, man. He's wearing Lamar's number 7.
He's good at it. But the thing I really like about the guy is he's athletic, he's young, and he's only 22 years old.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's a great pickup for the Lakers. And the biggest concern about this guy's offensive game was his outside shooting in general, because he's great around the basket. But he's been, his shooting has gotten a lot better, especially in the preseason and the first game also. But, man, without Xavier, we have a lot of other guys to talk about. That bench mob, you had Farmar.
Meeks.
You had Meeks.
Wesley Johnson.
Wesley Johnson playing the 4.
That was a lot of fun to see.
And Jordan Hill grabbing more rebounds or more offensive rebounds than DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin in that fourth quarter.
Man, Wesley Johnson playing the 4 reminded me of like a Sean Marion playing the 4 with the old Suns. Just so fast out there. Such a fast-paced team. And they reminded me of the Suns of maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago. It was just a really, really big surprise. And it's crazy to think because you have this bench mob coming off the bench. You have, unfortunately, Nash didn't play yesterday. They're saying there might be something with his hip. And honestly, every single year we've had him,
he didn't look right in game one, though.
He didn't really look right. I mean, he honestly didn't impress that many people, I don't think. But, every single year, we have health issues with him, unfortunately. Given Nash's health issues, Powell looks amazing.
Yeah.
These young guys look really, really good. So you have this bench mob. You have a pretty decent starting 5. I mean, they beat the Clippers' ass in the first, game of the year. You have this crazy bench squad and those starters, dude, just waiting for Kobe to come back. I mean, I cannot wait to see what Kobe can do with this squad.
But I got to ask you a serious question about the first game against the Clippers, man. Was that more of the Lakers winning or the Clippers just totally being unprepared, laying a dud, playing horrible defense, the exact opposite of what everyone expected coming out of a Doc Rivers team?
Yeah, no, but I'll tell you what, the Clippers, in my mind, didn't really lay a dud. You had Blake Griffin, who put up a double-double with 17 points. You had DeAndre Jordan put up a huge double-double with, like, close to 20 points. You had J.J. Redick score, like, 14 points in the first quarter. Mm-hmm. So they didn't, in my mind, kind of lay an egg. They were, they put up 106 or 107 points. The difference was it was tied early in the fourth. The bench squad's in there. Farmar, Meeks, Henry, and dude, those guys just blew the doors off the Clippers, and the Clippers were just kind of taken so by surprise they could never recover. It was amazing. So if we can just get back to what we saw in Game 1, because let's get into Game 2 for a second, but before we get into Game 2, just remember, the Lakers landed in Golden State at 2 in the morning, had to play less than 12 hours later. It was just ridiculous, man.
Just to wrap a bow on Game 1, is the best part about Game 1 was looking at that floor, that bench mob in the fourth quarter, and just thinking, wow, at some point in our lives, Angone, we thought these guys were going to be really exceptional players when they were drafted.
Yeah.
In college, they were exceptional, and they were all these guys. Was Farmar in the first round? Was he late first round for the Lakers?
I think he was second. No, I think he was late first round.
Yeah, he was a first round pick. Every single person on that floor then was a first round pick.
Yeah.
Wesley Johnson and Jordan Hill being lottery picks, which is crazy.
It was like a college dream team almost. You know? It was all these former college stars. You even have the announcers referring to Henry as the Kansas Comet.
How fun is that going to be? Professor X.
Yeah, no.
Excelente.
Just crazy.
The X Factor.
Dude.
Solve for X.
Yeah, I think that's probably what D'Antoni was alluding to when he was talking about him being the X Factor. But
exactly.
Honestly, dude, I'm throwing away the second game. I mean, that's not a. People are going to say, that's convenient. But dude, honestly, the back-to-back, Nash didn't even play.
Yeah.
You could just tell they were shot, after the first game and just expelling all of their energy, So I'm looking forward to see what happens in the next few games. We're going to have to play the Spurs coming up. I'm interested to see what they look like then, so.
In my conscience, to keep my conscience, sane, as a rational sports fan, which I like to consider myself, I threw away the last game and I also threw away the first game.
Yeah, no,
I had to
that's
do
a
it.
Good point.
Definitely. I mean, if you're going to take the positives from Game 1, you got to take the negatives from Game 2 and just cancel them out, right?
I'm just glad what they've shown us.
Laid a dud, man. Last night was hard to watch.
I can't remember seeing them miss that many shots, man. Their jump shooting was just horrendous. I mean, we honestly were lucky to hit 1 out of every 4. It was really bad.
Great thing was Jody looked good for a second game in a row, right?
Yeah, at least in the beginning, definitely, absolutely. And just in general, this whole team, just in general, kind of reminds me of that young, fast-paced Suns of old, and with D'Antoni, running the show, and Steve Nash kind of hopefully working his way back in and getting past all the injuries. I'm just excited in general for the whole season, man. And the number one thing I'll say about this Lakers season, once Kobe gets back, once Steve is hopefully closer to being solid when it comes to his health, it's gonna be all about avoiding injuries.
Yeah.
I mean, every single year. I mean, look at the Thunder last year. They lose Westbrook, they're done for the season. It's whoever can avoid injuries, stay healthy, who has that championship pedigree team, those are the guys that are going to be competing for the championship. So, dude, I'm just going to cross my fingers and just hope that we can really, really stay healthy this season.
Before I give my final words on this, I need you to tell me, take a guess. Who do you think led the Lakers in minutes last night?
Last night, I'd probably say Farmar.
Xavier Henry.
He did still?
With 36 minutes.
Okay, cool.
I thought you were going to say Powell.
No.
I know you've been loving how Powell's been looking these past 2 games.
Back-to-backs, they couldn't use him that much, but maybe D'Antoni's looking at these first couple of games as kind of like a testing ground,
it looks
throwing him to the wolves almost, see what he can get out of him.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a bad idea.
My final thoughts on this Lakers season, because we haven't been able to really preview the season anyway. the craziest thing and the most predictable thing about this Lakers season is that this Lakers season is going to be completely unpredictable. There's so many damn questions.
Yeah.
Powell's been playing good, but how is he going to play? You know, he was injured all last year.
Yeah.
How's Steve Nash going to work out? How's Kobe going to turn out? ESPN thought he's going to be the 25th best player in the league, which is complete BS. Come on.
Weren't you the one that said, come on, you can at least give him 24,
Did you?
right?
Yeah. Did you not see last year?
Dude.
Did you not see what the guy did? But
Wasn't he top 3 scoring again?
Yeah.
I mean, like, what is their
he
deal?
beat LeBron in scoring,
Dude,
man.
come on, dude.
But, you know, I understand why they're going all crazy. Achilles, I get it. But,
Not
you know,
surprised.
there's a lot. And you know what's crazy is, I'm going to put this out there, Trev. I think the Lakers are going to make a trade this year.
Yeah.
I think the Lakers are going to make a trade either with Pau Gasol, who they've been dangling, and he has a huge expiring contract. If Nash does anything, this is my wild card. What if they send him to Toronto?
Jeez,
Toronto's been wanting him for the longest time, and it's not like we want him or anything. It's
Yeah.
not like we need him. We got Farmar and we got Blake. Or what about these young guys on expiring contracts that can show something, like Wesley Johnson or like Xavier? I know we want to keep these guys, but they are on one-year contracts, and if they're any value and if they could bring us anything for the future, maybe the 2014 draft, what's to say the Lakers don't pull the plug on that?
Yeah, I mean, if we have 4 big trading pieces and they're young and they've been doing real well this season, I mean, you know, at least to maybe get some type of a piece. I mean, like, let's say that Boston wanted to move Jeff Green because they're not looking to win right now, and they want to get rid of talent still so they can try to get a really, really high draft pick.
Yeah.
I mean, I would, you know, move for Jeff Green in a second. I mean, it'd be great to add him to Powell, but, you know, I would probably, like you said, give up something like a Jody Meeks and a Jordan Hill for, you know, I mean, given those 2 players are blowing my mind right now.
Yeah,
but
all I'm saying is, we came into this year with all these signings and just looking at it on paper, if you could flip any of these contracts into something that could benefit our future, in a bigger way than we expected, then why not?
Especially with this spending spree coming up, hopefully.
Exactly.
You know, so I mean, I absolutely see what you're saying, bro, for sure.
Hey, I'm saying it now. I'm putting my money on Carmelo Anthony and Luol Deng.
Dude, all right.
I want it to happen.
Dude, I would love to see that team.
I want it to happen.
Dude, I'd love to see that team. That'd be a great team to watch.
I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I will love it to. So
I'll
what's next?
I'll cross my fingers. All right, man. So that completes part 1. We're on to part 2. Dun 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 Dodgers. All right, dude. Freaking. I think the reason you haven't heard from me and Co in probably about a week and a half is we've both been in our Dodger comas. You know.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing I said to him after I texted him after like a week. I'm like, dude, I just came out of my Dodger coma, bro. Like, man, I don't even want to talk.
And I saw the word Dodger and went on another 5-day coma.
Yeah, no, exactly. Or I heard the word Puig or something. You know. But honestly, bro, the first thing that comes to my mind when it comes to this latest Dodgers season is injuries, man. I mean, Hanley, the last, the entire last series against the Cardinals, every game time decision. He's got broken ribs. He's in there for like 2 at bats maybe, and then he gets sub for just for like morale purposes. You know, you got that going on. Kemp's already out. You know, Kershaw's going on short rest. You know, Billingsley's on hasn't even played this year. You know, it just almost seemed like we just could not run away from them fast enough. You know, they just finally caught up to us, and we know more than anything when it comes to, you know, Kobe's injury and, you know, God, dare I mention like a Darren Dreifert. You know, I mean, like, geez, you know, so we know, dude, that injuries can be the most derailing, you know, factor in a championship run, you know? So, you know,
all I'm saying is that Hanley Ramirez injury was the most important postseason injury in baseball.
Oh, yeah, no,
that
easily.
By itself. The fact that he couldn't field, the fact that he couldn't swing a bat without feeling pain, that in itself, man, if the Dodgers had a chance of beating the Cardinals, and the Cardinals, top to bottom, they're a good team. I gotta give credit to them. I hate them. I hate the city of St. Louis.
That's for you, Brad.
I hate their fans. But you know what? They have a good team.
They do, and honestly, dude, our postseason chances broke with Hanley's ribs.
But,
you know, it came down to that.
Both teams could not afford major injuries to any of their guys.
Yeah.
And the sad thing was, it happened to us right away.
Yeah.
But what's done is done. We got to look into the future. And the good thing about this Dodgers team is that the future looks bright. And, I mean, isn't that the truth as long as Stan Kasten's
I mean,
around?
no, it looks incredibly bright. And, you know, it's a great point because, you know, the first thing I thought was, you know, we had Puig. He came in mid-season. So did Hanley. And Hanley was honestly the league MVP. The reason he wasn't, you know, seriously considered is because he missed so many games in the beginning of the season, you know. But as far as this season in particular, dude, it reminds me of our run in 2008 against the Celtics when we lost in 6 and they blew us out in Game 6 back in Boston. It reminds me so much of that. You have Puig coming in halfway through the season. Same thing as Pau. Pau came in halfway through the season. As soon as he shows up, just like Puig, we just start killing it.
Fireworks.
We're blowing the doors off, fireworks, celebrations, the city's on fire. But when it came down to it, there was a team that was a little bit more seasoned that ultimately had the edge on us, So honestly, I could not be reminded more of that season, and honestly, that's what makes me so excited for next season. Is these guys all hopefully being healthy. I mean, like,
too bad we couldn't give up like a Kwame for Puig though.
Yeah,
we couldn't throw Beckett. in there
I know.
like
Beckett will be gone after this season though, if not, before hopefully. So I mean, at least we have that going for us.
I totally agree with you about the Game 6 2008 thing. That's probably the best. I tweeted that right away. I think we have the exact identical thought. Something I want to ask you real quick though, Trev, is just go down this list of Dodgers free agents.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Tell me if you want to keep him or not, and I'll give you my answer too.
Okay.
Jerry Hairston Jr. I say nay.
I would not mind if we had to get rid of him. Not a big issue. We barely even saw him last year.
Yeah, he wasn't on the playoff roster. I think that was the kind of, hey, we like Punto better than we like
yeah,
you.
no, exactly. He played more.
Edison Volquez.
I honestly couldn't care less.
I actually watched him pitch twice at Dodger Stadium, and he looked good, but nay also.
Yeah.
Chris Capp.
Already gone, as we talked earlier. They cut him today.
I don't mind it.
He was scheduled to make $8 million next year. Just not worth it, probably.
Exactly. Not worth it, even though he did, he did well.
He looked great at times, but, he was kind of Jekyll and Hyde.
And Skip Schumacher. Now, that's a tough one.
It is tough, because, he's... we remember him in certain instances coming through, but
it's Skip.
It's Skip. He's kind of a throwback. I mean, just the name.
He's like a veteran presence,
almost. But dude, the number one thing that comes to my mind when I think of Skip is what did you do for us against St. Louis?
Yeah,
nothing as far as I can remember. And that's what it comes down to for me is what did you do in the make or break series. And dude, honestly, the same thing goes for Puig. It's not like we're going to get rid of the guy, but I think it was Game 2, runner on first, no outs, down by 1, and he hits into a double play. And it's just like, blew the bubble on the season up to that point. We
already have too many outfielders as it is without
Absolutely.
Skip. And second base, we'll get to that in a bit, but I don't think there's any room for him at second base either.
Yeah, no.
Carlos Marmol. Now this guy, when he's good, he's good.
If you say so, but
he didn't. He was very rarely good.
And I remember the Cubs. He was known as for being with the Cubs as being a choke artist. So I don't really care about him either.
Yeah. Okay. Michael Young, no.
Nah, didn't do anything for me either.
Yeah.
No.
He was supposed to be like the pinch hitting master.
No, didn't do anything.
Out. Now we get to the tougher ones. Let's go with Nick Punto.
If you can get him for cheap, yes, throw him, on there to come off the bench or whatever. Whatever. He's a cool little utility guy. But I mean, again, not a make or break guy.
I say the little pony should come back. Too much of a locker room presence.
Yeah, no, exactly. He is a big locker room guy. And I see JP Howell next up on your list. I mean, dude.
He has to stay, right?
I mean, I guess so, but honestly, what did you really do?
Texas Longhorn, great lefty, though.
Yeah, no.
He was reliable all year. I know he kind of blew it up a little bit in the playoffs, but all year, man, he was reliable.
So hopefully he'll be able to pick it up a little bit more. Yeah.
Oh, the hometown kid, Ricky Nolasco.
Yeah, I heard they're going to try to re-sign him, so it looks like they're going to try to do that.
But it has to be for cheap.
Yeah.
It has to be for cheap, and I think he's willing to take a hometown discount.
Yeah.
Mark Ellis.
Cut today. Sad to see him go. That was probably the toughest one so far because he was, as far as I was concerned, money late in the season. As far as the playoffs were concerned, not as money, but still really like the guy. But let that bring us to the second baseman conversation.
Alexander Guerrero.
Which, go talk about that guy. He's our next Cuban. We signed him. He's hopefully going to go right in there and fill in for Ellis. In kind of tangent with the second baseman conversation, any chance of us making a run at Cano in the offseason?
I don't want Cano.
Yeah, right.
If there's a chance, if there's a free agent that anyone thinks is remotely good, the Dodgers always have a chance to sign him. Yeah. It's whether the Dodgers think they really need him or not. If this Guerrero kid is as good as he is, and I'm hearing comparisons to none other than Hanley Ramirez.
Wow, yeah, that's funny, man.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what the Dodgers do. But if they sign Guerrero, then who's to say that we need a long-term solution at second base, which Cano is going to want. He's going to want 10 plus years, right? Or more than 6, more than 7, something around that range.
Yeah, but hey, the last two guys on your list, these, if anybody, these are the two guys that, I think you have to keep around for now, right?
Okay. Brian Wilson. The problem is, I think he's going to be looking for closer money.
Yeah.
Because he had, let's say
he looked good.
He had a hell of a year. We didn't like the move when he first came in because it was just weird seeing the guy around. But he really got into that locker room, became a character in there, and pitched phenomenally. he could have been the closer for us if all hell broke loose, right?
Yeah.
But to have him behind Kenley Jansen, if we can get him for a good price, yes. But if he's going to ask for Brandon League money,
yeah,
I mean,
then
relief
we're
pitchers
probably
are
not
just,
going to be able to afford it because we're just going to go with Kenley.
relief pitchers are just so unreliable.
So, I mean, the last position player, you got Uribe. I mean, he honestly, I don't think he did shit for us against the Cardinals, even though,
That's an amazing way to put it.
He's like feast or famine, I mean, he'll hit 8 RBIs against the Giants or he'll do nothing for a week,
Exactly.
So, I mean, honestly, if you can find somebody better, cool. If you got to use him, he's almost like the dad of the clubhouse,
But, I haven't looked into it, but what third basemen are on
That's
the
what I'm
market,
saying. There never are. They're so hard to find, so you're probably just going to have to re-sign him.
He was great in the locker room. He was, awesome at times.
Yeah,
great clutch hitter. And he had his best year last year. I say if you're going to bring him back, only on a 1-year contract.
Yeah.
No more multi-years for Juan Uribe because we signed him for 3. You stunk it up for 2.
Yeah.
You did good in your last year like you did with the Giants. Let's see how it goes.
Hey, the last question I have for you, what's going on with Kershaw's contract, you think? We kept hearing rumors during the end of the season about the $200 million contract, and then they backed off, and then, they didn't close it. I mean, what's going on with that? What do you think is going to happen? I mean, we're not going to lose the guy, but what do you think is going to happen with the contract negotiations?
Cue any song that has to do with money here.
Yeah, right.
Because no matter what happens, this guy's about to get paid.
Right? He has to.
I still have some sour grapes from that last game that he pitched.
Yeah.
There's no other way to put it. The guy choked.
Yeah. Yes, though, like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, he was on such short rest.
Yeah.
I mean, he maybe if you remember when Hershiser did that earlier in the 80s, he was older. Kersh is still a real young guy, and honestly, it's really good experience for him. And he's got that looming championships of the Giants and their 2 aces that he has to compete with. So hopefully that drives him.
But Trev, he's the best pitcher in the league.
Yeah, he's supposed to be. Absolutely,
he is, and hands down, he is in my opinion. And if you know what, pay the guy, sign him, pay him. He was a Dodger for life.
Yeah.
I mean, unlike Kobe, he wasn't even traded here. He's a Dodger for life. And just like Kobe said he'd like to die a Laker, I hope Kershaw dies a Dodger.
Yeah, me too, man. I mean, like you said, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind, best pitcher in the league. That's why it's just so kind of unnerving to see something like that happen to him, that, the same thing that we saw against the Cardinals.
I mean, you know me, man. I kind of have a soft spot for these hometown guys, like guys that have been brought up from this farm system.
Except for Ethier.
Yeah, except for Ethier. I was going to get to that.
Except he's still healthy.
Yeah. We're going to go on for 20 more minutes when we get into Ethier right now. We'll save that for another time.
Okay, I agree.
Anything else on your list over there?
Nah, man, that's going to do it. Lakers, Dodgers, the 2 biggest pillars of the city. That's what's getting all the attention today. But, hey, let's honestly try to get back in here in less than a week, man. And let's, tell the people what's going on with the Lakes. And, we're going to get one of our buddies, Will, in here. We're going to talk a little bit of Kings as soon as possible. So maybe we'll try to shoot for that next week. Absolutely.
And here's our, quote-unquote mandatory tidbit on the Clippers. Blake Griffin still can't shoot. DeAndre Jordan still bad at individual defense, but he can block you from behind really, really well. Make it look really cool. Yeah. He can still jump out the building.
He can duck his head underneath the rim, but I mean, you said, Blake still can't do this, and this. I was just going to say, the only thing he can do is dunk, and he looks good doing it, but, that's not what wins championships.
The Clippers' offense is still post up, or it's run around with Chris Paul with the ball, and the defense doesn't look any better from last year.
No.
But who's to say after 48 minutes? But, that was the Angone and Ko Show podcast. We haven't done one of these in a really, really long time. Thank you, whoever, wherever, and whenever you are listening to this podcast. Really appreciate it.
We know that you're out there.
And today is Halloween. Stay safe if you guys are going out.
Be careful. Keep your black cats inside, and make sure you double check all that homemade candy.
You dressing up this year?
I don't know. I was thinking about maybe going as Tony Soprano.
Oh, that's actually a really good idea. That's actually a pretty good.
The question is, which Tony Soprano?
There you go. For Trevor Angone, I am Kevin Cohen. Thank you so much for listening. Check in at youtube.com/AKS podcast, and we will see you soon.